Axons Unleashed.
G'day, ladies and gents. Robbie Turner's my name. Welcome to another cracking episode of Axons Unleashed. Well, I know it's going to be cracking. Luke, you know it's going to be cracking. And we've got a bloody amazing guest to join us here. We've got the one and only Mr. Kyle Faram. Hello, mate. Great to see you.
Hello, mate.
It's funny how you call me Hooch. I called you Faz, you called me Hooch because those that don't know, that was my digger nickname. The old Turner and Hooch bloody movie from back in the day. When I commissioned from Sergeant the Captain in 2003, I went, I probably should have let that digger nickname go. And then
we're bringing it back.
And then I got guns and buns at Duntroon. Thankfully, that didn't fucking stick. And then,
well, you don't want a sticky bun, mate.
No. And now it's just RT or Robbie. I know it's been a few weeks, maybe a couple of months that I sort of first reached out to you and went, hey, man, jump on our bloody podcast. So you as a former Army veteran and doing great stuff right now, I know that your story is going to resonate with so many people. So I'm so thankful that you're here.
No, well, thanks for bringing us. I've got some presents.
Everyone
likes
we love
everyone
gifts.
likes a present.
Hey, mate, bring them out. Get it out on the desk.
Do we have to tell the ATO? Do we have to tell the ATO about these gifts?
Oh, mate, bloody stubby call.
Fringe benefits. Look at that.
Full bull comedy. There you go. So
mate,
I was going to wait till we
is...
got there, but Kyle is also in the comedy game. So a veteran who's transitioned into the comedy space. So
not quite as good as Jared, but
that's all right. That's all right. Luke's not quite as good as me, but we're getting there. As evidenced, I try and be a bit of a comedic myself, and in my own lunchbox, I think I'm the funniest fucker here. But ultimately, you all out there will be the judge. But
the enemy gets a vote, RT.
Thank you so much. You'll have to tell us what the 25-30 means in a minute, because I know you got it on your shirt there. Break sidebar though. We're coming here live and uninterrupted here from downtown Gold Coast. Well, you're not listening to us live. We're recording it. Mid-August it is. You and I are on a plane tomorrow.
Where are we going?
UFC.
Holy.
Perth. UFC 305.
Holy.
So by the time all of you listen to this, you would be going, oh yeah, I was watching the bloody UFC on the Sunday morning. And those two fucking roosters were there.
I saw a bloke half naked running around the crowd. It won't be me. It's probably going to be...
I'm just preempting.
So let's do a little forecast. Who do you reckon's going to win and why?
I think Adesanya's going to win, mate. I think Duplessis is going to try and press him like Sean Strickland did, and I think Adesanya's going to have him worked out. He's going to be too quick and too strong.
Right. You've been following UFC for how long?
Oh, fuck, since I knew about it, so fucking forever.
5 or 6
Forever,
years?
mate. No, longer.
I've only been following for a couple of years, and I reckon one of my first fights was Dragic Duplessis. I'm like, fuck, he can go all right, and now he's risen to be the champion. So
he can scrap.
I'm going for him, you're going for the other fella, and I guess you'll find out. You'll now know which one of these roosters was able to predict it properly. But anyway, break now over. Back to where we're here.
The important shit.
Mate, thanks so much for being here. I know you're going to have a fantastic story. As always, man, let's go right back to the start. Where'd you grow up and why'd you think about joining the military?
Yeah, so I grew up out in the country, pretty small rural communities like dairy farmers and
that.
When I got to school, primary school, we made 24 kids in our entire primary school.
That's smaller than Port Pirie.
So where is this?
So that was Tamrookum.
Where is this?
I say again, where is this?
It's about 90 minutes southwest of Brisbane.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's not that far away from where we are now.
It's not that far, but it's like right in the upper reaches of the Logan River. Right,
yep.
So
that's why we haven't been.
We had meth farmers and cow farmers.
Yeah, what is the produce out there? Meth.
Now send it down the river, straight to Logan.
So there's 24 kids in primary school.
Yeah, grade 1 to 7, and then
wow.
So when I was about 6, my grandfather's birthday was Anzac Day.
Yeah.
He fought World War II, like most of our grandfathers.
Yeah,
and
cool.
It was just like, right, I'm going to be like Granddad, going to join the Army as soon as I finished school. My uncle went to Vietnam. Dad got called up as a NASHO. Didn't go over, but did, started the training and all that. And so I was like really keen to get in. When I got to high school, there was about 1,500 kids in the high school at Bow Desert. So went from not learning how to make friends because it's like 12 boys in the school. It's like, right,
we're friends.
Yeah. And then, so didn't really pick up on that skill. Got to high school. I was like, fuck. There's so many people here. Oh, what do you do? I live near a farm.
Yeah. You live near a meth farm.
Yeah. So I was like, just couldn't wait to join the Army, get out of there. Basically, the only way to get out of that school was it's like a sports scholarship or go to uni. So not many people made it out.
Yeah, of course.
So I was like, right, I can't wait.
We can relate to that very much. So, Port Pirie and Cowra, which is the centre of the universe when you're talking about country towns. We can certainly relate to that, and the opportunities to get out. The Defence Force does provide that kind of, holy fuck, there's something to grab hold of here, and there's a community that I can go to.
Yeah.
I've had people that talk about exactly what you've just explained, where you're looking for your tribe, you're looking for your people.
Yeah.
The Defence Force welcomes you with open arms. Here's a tribe, here's a community, here's support and love.
Yeah.
Here's your hair gone.
Yeah.
And now, the price of entry is for me to shave your head. Old Lightning Lenny up the top of the hill. Bang, away you go. What year are we talking? Just sort of situate us there.
So, left high school in 2000.
Yep.
So I finished grade 12 in class of 2000. Probably the only notable person that made it out. It was Corey Parker.
Yep.
Yeah, so like there's one kid,
Yep.
Out of 1,500. So
Yeah.
it's not that great of a record. So, but as soon as I turned 17, I was like, right, start, hitting recruiting. Like, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to join the army. They're like, oh, what as? I don't know. I just want to join the army.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, have you heard about artillery? I was like, what the fuck is that? Yeah. Well, so my family background are like carpenters and that, so I wanted to become an engineer, and the recruiter that, they always lie to us.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, mate, we don't take 17-year-olds into like carpentry. We want, like a 21-year-old, someone that would have finished an apprenticeship and come in. I was like, what do you have? Oh, we've got artillery. All right, sign me up. When you get to Kapuki, you can just change it.
Yeah, no worries.
Like, it's just one form straight in.
No big deal.
Just shit. The staff will already know about it when you get there. It's fine.
How's his voices? I feel like I'm in the recruiting office.
How was, leading into Kapuka, what was your first impression of jumping off the bus and sort of, getting that shock of capture?
Yeah, well, it was the first time I've ever been on a plane.
Yeah.
Flying from Brisbane to Sydney, and then I was clearly the youngest out of everyone on the bus.
Yeah.
Me too.
And I was shitting myself. Like I've played rugby.
Yep.
But this is like the first real-time experience with like actual adults. And everyone in my platoon was like reserves. I was the only reg, one of only a few regs out of about 50 people. And I was like, fuck, what's it, trying to make friends on the bus, and everyone's like, all right, we'll figure it out when we get there. Get off the bus. It's like, stop yelling at me.
Chaos.
Why are you yelling at me?
Help.
Where's my mom?
You're not figuring anything out. It's like you're captured.
And everyone's like, just try to be the grey man. I didn't know what the fuck a grey man was. I was like, okay. So, just trying to fly under the radar and being 6'2" at 17 and
I was going to say
Gumby,
I couldn't
march.
You would have been a pretty intimidating fella. Like you're probably sitting there thinking to yourself, "Fuck, I'm nervous. I'm the youngest bloke here." But from the other, the other recruits going through, I'm certain they would have looked at you and went, "This guy's a fucking man."
Yeah, it was good. I was like one of the only people that knew how to shave. I was like the youngest. I was like, how do you not know? So the one where this is how you shave and.
Yeah,
scratch your face and
don't cut your earlobe off.
Yeah, and I was just watching people like, oh, okay, and like just bleeding everywhere. I was like, oh, they've stitched you up, guy. So So when I finished Kapuka, went to School of Arty.
Down in Pucker.
Down in Pucker, yeah. That was sort of a different experience. There was seeing people like moving the guns around. I was like, what the fuck is that? And they're like, oh, that's artillery. I was like, oh, that's not what I thought I was doing. The dude at recruiting showed me the self-propelled gun, like a AS-90. I was like,
what year was this?
2000. Motherfucker. So I was like,
still haven't got him.
Yeah,
24 years later. He was doing future ops for you.
Oh, dude.
Full ops recruiter.
Yeah. So I was talking to the other guys that had been in like a holding platoon for a while, because this was like over the Christmas, New Year period. So by the time I got there, it was February. And I was like, where are these big tanky gun things that we'll be driving around? They're like, oh, they're not coming. And then finished the gun course. And I'm like, all right, don't worry about this. By the time you guys get to your units, there'll be fucking self-propelled there. I was like, oh, sweet.
Kaz G's got this.
Yeah, but I just wanted to get far away from my family. So I was like, okay, where do you want to go, Darwin or Townsville? And I was like, well, Darwin's probably a bit too far. I think I'll go to Townsville. Like that really resonates with me. I'll go to Townsville, into Forefield, and just the day I rocked up was Sporty Thursday. go into the BSM's office. You three, you look like bags of shit. Can any of you play sport? And I was like, well, I played rugby. All right, you're on the team.
Beautiful.
I didn't realize that rugby league and rugby union were two different fucking sports.
You had a pretty steep learning curve on the way to defence force, didn't you, mate?
And what was your specialty?
Prop.
No, sorry, league or union?
Oh, league.
It would have been a league, being from Queensland, mate.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Never seen union before, ever. And there I am. He goes, all right, run it up. I was like, okay. Fucking big and tall. Bam. Like a 35-year-old dude that hated the world.
Yeah.
3 fucking divorces, just fuck this guy. Bam. There I am, poleaxed on the ground. BSM's like, I thought you knew how to play. It's like, wrong sport.
I meant badminton.
Similar.
When you went through, was there over that period, like coming from Kapuka through that space into real army? Was there a kind of one moment that resonates with you where it was like, fuck, I'm actually in the army, I'm in the military? Whether that be a point of pride, a point of fear, a point of some other emotion that you went through.
I think it was probably when I was at Pucker. We went to Melbourne for the weekend, and like cool cunts, we were wearing our dog tags.
Yeah.
Melbourne, I was like, I'm in the army. You should.
I'm killing this.
No.
Wearing your dog tags on the outside of your T-shirt.
Yep. Letting them dangle there. Like
Top
this
Gun.
out. Yeah.
Top Gun.
Yeah. It did not work.
That's a great answer. I haven't had that one before.
No.
I was up at Fourfield as a sergeant then.
You sure were.
Yeah. What was your first impressions of that unit? Because I'd just finished my stint down at Kapuka as an RI.
Yeah.
So I missed you by about 6 months.
Yeah.
And boom, like it just bends out of the elbow. It's a very regimented unit up there. It's like a big brother version of Kapuka, isn't it?
Yeah.
That sounds horrible.
Fucking mate, it's next level. And I was in my element.
I know you were.
Yeah. Well, when I was down at Pucker, everyone was like, oh, you're going to hate Townsville. It's like the most regimented unit in the army. They just fucking yell at you all the time. I was like, what have I got myself into? Like the very first parade, like just knockoff parade we did. We've gone to Fallout. We still had Kapuka timing. Everyone else had like regimental timing. So everyone's like crashing into us and like, hey, you fucking Jubes, what are you doing? Like, it was like, I don't know. Fucking stop yelling at me.
So 2, 3.
Yeah.
Just Friday night, went out on the piss, got arrested. Fucking.
Oh, that'd go down really well.
Oh, yeah, I'd been there Thursday, arrested Friday.
Amazing.
Right?
Were you 18 yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's all right. You can only be trialed as a juvenile.
So we're at the cry. And one of the bouncers must have figured out I was underage and he's like, all right, you give us your ID.
You're out.
I didn't show him my driver's license. I'll just show him my army ID. He'll let me through. He's like, this still says you're 17. And I was like, oh, come on, dude. Fucking help me out.
Just trying to have fun with the boys.
Yeah. And he goes, all right, there's MPs here. Do you want me to call them? Or I was like, no, I guess I'll deal with the regular police. So before we went out on the Friday, my number 7 goes, hey, like to Section 2 IC, gives me his phone number. He goes, if anything happens, just give us a ring. Whatever it is, we'll help you out. So I ring him, tell him,
can't help you, you're fucked.
Nah, you're fucked. Monday morning, who the fuck is Kyle Faram? I was like, this is not going well.
What an intro to a unit.
Oh, dude. And then, everyone was just like, oh, you're a troublemaker. I was like, I'm not. I was just trying to fly under the radar.
Very great.
Go out on the piss with everyone. Make friends. No. Cause trouble, But the, sorry.
So I was just going to say, how many years were you up there, mate?
So I was up there until 2003. So 2001, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Then I got posted to Brisbane, which was a very culture shock.
A bit more relaxed.
Very relaxed. It was more about, what are you doing this weekend rather than let's get ready to go to war sort of stuff. So it took a little bit to
Would have been a nice change though.
It was, but then I was like, why aren't we doing this?
Yeah.
And you sort of miss.
Isn't that amazing? It's amazing that just between, it's the same military, it's the same army, the same objectives, the CDF writes the same requirements and outcome and training liabilities, and you go
7 Brigade didn't have a focus back then.
It did not.
It does now.
No, I'm
So,
tracking. I'm just
that's
it's very
fact.
different. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we were we had 1 reg battery and 2 reserve batteries. So the focus was on reserve retention.
Yeah, sure.
So
makes sense.
Which I didn't want to be there.
Yeah, of course.
Couldn't get posted out. I was like I'm sure I could ring anyone in Darwin and Townsville and go, hey, do you want to swap out?
Yep.
They'd go, yes. And like, well, we can't post you.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, how?
Oh,
Why you're posting me?
You're posting me here. Get me the fuck out.
Yeah.
So what happened then?
Got 2 hooks, which was great. Spent all my time on the hill, being a forward observer, AC. So that was great. And then about halfway through, I think it was 2006, the RSM's like, oh, do you want to go to Timor or do you want to go to 4-hour? I was like, I'll take my chances with 4-hour, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So trained up and got posted to 4-hour in 2007 and Op Sport Company, which was the best thing that ever happened.
That's
Again,
awesome.
I missed you. I was down at Duntroon by then, fucking teaching this rooster how to bloody
Bends out of the elbows.
live.
Breast pocket height.
Yeah.
I remember it. It wasn't a drill.
I wasn't a drilly then. I was a drilly at Kapuka, but I graduated.
Yeah.
You were working under Andy Howell, weren't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Good on you.
I had like Ross. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, mate. What was your first impressions like walking in? You've gone from, so I know it's not 2 Commando, but it's obviously the predecessor to what it was. What was your first impressions of walking into that unit, noting you had the experience up in Townsville, very regimented, the experience down in Brisbane, which is lattes and margaritas.
Yeah.
How does it shift for you when you walked into 4?
So day one, I got my missus to drop me off, and our car broke down before we got to the front
Perfect.
gate. So I'm running late to a new unit. Had no idea.
Who the fuck is Bombardier Faram?
So I didn't even know who the fuck was there. So I was like, I knew Simon Knight was there, so I was ringing him. And I was like, mate, can you come get me?
Yeah.
He's like, where are you? I was like, stuck at the front gate.
Look, car breaking down's not great, but it's better than being arrested.
Yeah. So first impression once I got in there, it was just the most amazing feeling. I was like, all right, here's all these highly motivated people that want to do the job, want to be there. Everyone's like fully fit.
Because Afghanistan kicked off by then. Because I did rotation 1 in August 05 and then came back and then went down to Duntroon.
Yeah,
so the op focus was like laser-like.
Yeah, so SATG 3 had just come back. And I think on that first day we did some sort of parade. Everyone was getting their medals and stuff like that.
Oh, fuck.
Just
that's a motivator.
watching dudes walk up to the CO, not even throw him a boxer, just go, yeah, thanks, champ, get their medals, and just fuck off. Like the RSMs just sitting there going, oh, this is like hilarious.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I found my people. This is great.
Yeah. That's a pretty big motivator.
Yeah.
We do some crazy things for bits of tin and ribbon.
Yeah.
To see that on, your first couple of days in the unit and that really highlights the op focus of, fuck, we're not messing around and we're not focused on reserve capability here. We're focused on going to fight.
Yeah. Like we've literally got dudes who've just come back.
Yeah.
And, it's like, oh, this is awesome. Yeah. And I think Timor might have been sparking off again.
Round 2, about 2005,
Yeah. So there was some of the operators were going over there, so that was great. Early 2007, it's like, all right, yep, you're on JTAC course. Off you go. If you fail, you're out of the unit. I did not fail.
And this is one of the, except for the selection courses, it's probably the most failed course across the AEF.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Someone I know ducks that one.
Who was that?
Me.
I want to meet him.
And me. Did you? Yes.
Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Yeah, I ducked
that was not scripted.
I ducked my transport course too. No, I didn't.
Fuck me.
This is a truck.
Yeah.
This is first gear.
Don't sniff the tailpipe leak.
Oh, that's good. I didn't know that about you. Fuck, well done.
That's
Ducks
awesome.
25.
Yeah. True story though, right? Very hard course,
Yeah.
easy course to fail.
Yeah, very easy.
But,
I know people that have failed on the last day.
Yeah, wow.
And it's like, how could you have done like 35 controls up to this point and then fail on your 36? Like,
Yeah.
But
the amount of resources gets put towards each
bet.
individual on that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's cutthroat for a reason, man. You cannot fuck that stuff up.
Yeah, because if you do on ops, there's big consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very big.
yeah, so
Well, that's good, man. I
yeah,
didn't know that. I told you I was going to discover some awesome stuff
yeah.
about you, but
Yeah, so come back off that, and it's like, right, yep, cool. You're on Delta Company's rotation. Next year, you're a reserve for Alpha and Bravo going over. I was like, oh, cool. So what do we do now? And they're like, don't get hurt. I was like, check.
No rugby, no drinking, no.
Oh, we panelled you for the para course. I was like, oh.
that's the second most failed course in the military.
Yeah, but you normally fail that with broken legs.
That's the reason why.
And at this point, I was pushing about 105 kilos. I was like,
Shit.
maybe we'll give this one a miss, shall we? So so I started trying to make friends with all the guys in Delta Company, which they were already on their CTC. So they were away. There was a couple guys that I knew, like Jason Marks, former artillery. So I sort of hung out with them, hung out with mortars, recon snipers. So like just building that rapport with all those guys. And then, started 2008, went over with Delta Company in Victor Platoon as their JTAC, which was fucking like the best.
Yeah. What was the sort of, like, you were pretty emotive then when you said the best? Like, I think that's the most emotive you've been already. What was the highlight? What made it so profound for you?
It was sort of like, so that was my first deployment.
Yeah.
And it was like, right, I'm finally doing what I've trained 8 years to do, and people go, well, I don't understand, like, you're in the army, isn't that enough? And it's like, well, if you're a kindergarten teacher that's trained all their lives to teach kindergarten kids, and then you never get to teach a kindergarten kid, and then finally go, hey, here's a kindergarten, go teach some kids. You're like, yes, I'm finally doing my job.
Yep.
Especially as like JTAC artillery, like your job is to drop bombs and kill people.
Yep.
So you can't do that back here.
Yeah.
You have to be overseas to do it. So I was like, right, you're on. But I had a funny moment. So we had to do the the Commando SF entry test, but the
support staff one.
Yeah, no, the fitness test before you're going over the CAFT.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So we're
combat fitness test.
The Commando fitness one. Yeah. So we're doing that in like November, and I was so excited to, like, the first event was the RDJ, running at it, and I broke my toe as I start going over the wall, and I was like, oh, and then I had to do the run, the swim, and then the stomp on a broken toe just so I could go overseas.
Good on you.
Just test, right? Just test. That's
just
resolve.
That's life. Chucking a little, like, oh, you reckon, Faz, you really up for this?
Yeah. Do you think you've got it?
Yeah.
Have you made it? Yeah. Here's a broken toe. Let's see how you go. So go down on the MRE with a broken toe, and my wife was pregnant with our second kid.
Yeah, wow.
She went into labour, so me and Jason Marks, both our wives had kids at the same time, so we got pulled off the Coltana MRE, which is great. Not really, because everyone hated us. Oh, you jack cunts, fucking off. Yeah. It's like, oh, I'd rather be here. Trust me. I've had one before. They're not that great. So, getting back, so go over in January. Do the handover with the other JTACs, which were Walks and Foxy. They were the two, and they're like, here's this, here's that, don't die. I was like, yeah, thanks, man. any other pointers for us? And like, nah, you'll be right.
Were there, if you're happy to share, man, were there any kind of challenging moments during that, that first trip that you did?
There was a few things, like being non-beret qualled was, you sort of had to try and prove yourself all the time to the other operators. Like, you didn't want to feel like you're a burden. Yeah,
like being a logistics officer for your whole career.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, mate. Okay.
I think all that quelled, like, in the first firefight we got into.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I spotted some dudes on a drone. We went, killed them all. So, everyone's like, respect.
Yep, you're doing.
I just saved my ass.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: the harshness of the environment, the parameters of the mission have no care for what beret you wear.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're out there, you need to be able to perform. And being there as a technical expert advisor in something which is absolutely paramount is also irrelevant.
Yep. Yeah.
So, but it's the whole gap thing. You're right. You put it perfectly. As soon as you prove yourself, there's no gap.
Yeah, exactly.
You're now one of us.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude. All good.
Yeah.
You don't have your berets on over there. Yeah. But if you know, it's one of those things.
Yeah. And it was good walking around the commando shirts and then seeing the SAS cats and, like, pulling the piss out of each other, which it was a bit of fun. Sort of my trip ended a little bit short than I wanted to. In April 2008, 27th April, we're out on patrol, got ambushed, copped a couple. So that was me home. So was sort of a little bit surreal. I was like, all right, here we are. Been in heaps of firefights, and then all of a sudden, shit stepped up, and like we were completely like clueless about what was about to happen. So they said, all right, yep. The Taliban said, like, well, we're going to have IEDs planted on the road. We're going in to clear a village. We're coming in. Platoon's moving through. So the first half platoon's going into dead ground. We're still exposed at the back half. I'm in platoon commander's SRV. So we had half a section and the mortars. We're still in open ground. And then, just this whole fucking hill just lit up on us.
Oof.
So I jumped up, got off about 3 bags with my M4, got a stoppage. I've never had a stoppage on my M4. Cart case just goes, oh, what's this? You need me. It fucking expands in the chamber and I can't get it out. I was like, fuck. So I'm like, right, what I'll do is I'll stop talking to the Apaches. I'll just hang my handset on my chest. I'll jump off, grab out a 66 and, put some fire back down.
Try and quell that behaviour.
Yeah. So I jump off, forgetting my handset that I've just clicked on, still stuck to my chest, and it sort of like extended like an old-timey telephone, and it fucking spun me around just as I was getting off, and then a burst from a PKM ripped through me. Oof. Yeah, so I didn't really know what had happened because I thought it was just my handset coming off my chest and like just hit me in the arm was sort of like the jar I felt. Yep. It wasn't until I was trying to cock my M4 to I was like, where's all this blood coming from? What the fuck? So I looked at the underside of my arm and this like big chunk of bone and shit was coming out. Yep. I was like, oh, this is convenient.
Yeah, fuck.
So sort of went to the back wheel of the car trying to like fix it. And I'm like, all right, okay, where's my first aid dressing? Oh, it's in my left pocket. I'll just get that out. No. Oh, no, I can't use my fingers and I can't undo the fucking button. So there I am like looking like a complete fucking retard trying to undo this thing. Platoon commander's off on the Mag 58 on the front of the car, looks at me, he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, he's like, carry on. Right, you got this, mate. Were. Yeah.
Were you in the mindset of I need to provide myself? Obviously, you providing first aid. That's the first thing. But were you in the mindset of got to get back in the fight? Was that kind of where you're at that point in time?
Yeah. So drivers come around, like we've just rape taped my arm back together, and then I looked back, and then Marksy got shot in the head. Fucking his gunner got shot through the elbow. Yep. Mortar sergeant, he's been shot like fucking 3 or 4 times. One of his mortarmen's been shot. I was like, oh, this ain't going well. Yep. So took a little bit to get the Apaches coming in. They were Dutch. They had different ROE. So like, oh, we can't engage. We don't have PID. I was like, oh,
we're all shot.
You can see where we're fucking shooting, right?
We're all shot.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the rest of the platoon, this is like in a couple of minutes, the rest of the platoon's in the dead ground going, what the fuck is going on? We can't see, they can obviously hear us firing. They had to like fight their way out of the dead ground and then started assaulting this hill, and we didn't know that the Taliban were also behind us. So they were just waiting for us to commit to this first hill, and then they just lit us up from the back.
Clever girl. What a
right? It's almost as if we've been fighting for thousands of years. Right?
In their own backyard.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure fucking, Alexander the Great got ambushed at that spot. It was just the perfect fucking ambush.
He still had a pair of socks that he left behind.
The spear or whatever fucking up there. But it took us about 2.5 hours to get out. Yeah. Tango platoon had to come in and rescue us. So which obviously we weren't too happy about, but
do you remember the name of the location?
Tengay.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Or Chena Clay.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so
what the hell, mate? What a story!
Holy fuck,
that was a good one.
I think that's probably one of the first ones we've had that's
that
that
detailed anyway.
level of detail, man. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. What
so what was it like when you knew you were AME back to Australia? On the way back, spoke to the missus. Hey, I've been shot, but I'm alive. I'm coming home. All that sort of stuff.
So she was obviously still breastfeeding the baby at that time, and one of the people that was on guard rang her and said, "Look, there's been an incident," and she's just like, fuck, lost it. Yeah.
Oh, that must be a dreadful call to make and to receive.
Yeah, well, I said, look, if anything happens to me, there'll be someone to come to the door.
Yeah, okay.
You can answer the phone at any time, but if something, worry about knocks at the door.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I told everyone, I was like, don't say anything. I want to ring her.
Yep.
Which wasn't the case. So 28th, I ring her like to explain what's happening. and it's my birthday. So
happy birthday!
Jesus.
Yeah.
Here's a lead present.
Yeah. So getting shot the day before your birthday is fucking awesome.
So much sympathy for you.
Yeah,
There.
and it's like, you just don't worry about it. It's like, it's the day before my birthday. I can never forget this. So
Put it to the back of your mind. No.
That's where the bullets are.
It raises a really good point, man. Like, we ask of everybody that goes out on, on deployment and that sort of stuff. How'd you settle back in? It's a very bit different fucking process to come back if you've been AME'd as opposed to coming back and going, that was a bit rough.
Yeah. Well, recovered in Sydney for a few months. Had a heap of surgeries and that. They had to take top of my hip off to make new arm bone. Yep. And then RSM's come in and he's like, oh, mate, got some bad news. Because you got the plates now, you can't be a para-volunteer. You're out of the unit. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that sucks.
Where do you want to go? And I was like, post me to JTAC troop. Williamstown, that'd be great. I'd love to go there. He goes, get done.
Awesome.
And then some fuckwit at scheme is like, oh, no, artillery, Williamstown, that doesn't sound right. Let's put him in Brisbane. So back to the unit.
Back to reserve.
Yeah. But thankfully, this time these guys had upped their game a bit and was fully focused on war fighting, which was great.
What year was that? Sorry, mate.
It was coming in 2009.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Or the ready, reckoning, bloody...
Yeah,
just trying to think when
all the
Beersheba would have come in. I think it would have been in the planning phases then. Execution was early 2011, I think, but they would have been in the early phases of the
each of the brigades rotating through.
Yeah. So we were looking at going over 6 hour for MTF1.
Yep.
And I was like, yep, cool, happy days. I'm still returning to work, sort of recovering. And then they're like, oh, we'll start putting on your promotional courses for sergeant. I was like, yeah, that'd be great. The CEO, Stu Kenny, whose brother was the CEO of 2 Commando at the time, twin brother. Him and the Skull, Dave Lear, we're out bush. There's like 3 full tracks, about to get promoted or start the promotion journey. The CEO's like, oh, so do you guys want to go down the path of getting your 3rd hook, or do you want to go to MTF1? I was like, well, that is tempting. I think I'll take the 3rd hook, thanks. And the Skull's like, you're not listening to the boss. And I was like, I don't give a fuck what the boss says.
And I don't give a fuck about MTF1.
There's way less chance of being shot with a 3rd hook. I'll take the 3rd
hook. So he's like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And I was like, well, whatever. So they all fucking hated me. I went off sub 4. And then the BC of 105 battery, which supports 6, has come down and goes, when you get off the course and get promoted, you want to come over to an MTF1? I was like, yeah, that'd be great. So finally get back after doing sub 1 and that. And everyone in 6 is like in desert cam. And I knew I was getting promoted. So I went into the Skull's office. And I was like, oh, here you go, sir. This is for my promotion this afternoon. Gave him a desert cam 3 hook slide. I just don't want to be incorrectly dressed. You fucking...
Work the system.
That's pretty funny, man.
Right?
That's fucking great. That's
so,
great.
it was back over there in April.
And then you ponied up and went back over and stuff. How was, emotionally, it's going back into the fight after having such a traumatic experience on the way out. How were you, and how'd you prepare yourself?
I didn't really know what it was going to be like. I knew I had a lot of, because we were starting to take a few casualties by then.
Yep.
And I was like, there's a lot of people looking up to me. I've just been promoted. I need to, hold myself up.
Yep.
Get out there. Got sent to patrol base at Teak, which is a massive steep hill to get into the patrol base. I didn't want to let anyone know that I'd been shot. So on the first patrol, I was doing rockle replacement. So I was just filling in for guys so they could go on rockle. Walking out that gate the first time, I was like, what the fuck am I doing back here? I got an easy out. Like, I don't need to be back here.
Yeah, that's
my wife's pregnant again, so I was like, I'm going to miss the birth. And
did you guys have a TV, or was it just?
Wasn't plugged in, but so I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
I can only imagine that feeling.
Yeah,
man.
so I'm like, all the fear and anxiety just took hold of me, and I was like, all right, okay, we'll be right. We'll be right.
Yep.
You're not going to get shot again. What's the chances of that? So
I don't know. You're in a fucking war zone, mate.
So we're about 50 meters out of the gate, and then fucking EW is like, oh yeah, the Taliban are seeing you coming. They've got an ID planted on your route. I was like, oh, getting blown up. That's a change. I'll take that to getting shot. If I lose my legs, at least I can do chin-ups again. So,
mate, it must. Do you think it was a helpful thing having that third hook, knowing that you had a bunch of digs looking up to you, or did that kind of hinder you with that level of responsibility? Because no,
I think it helped.
Yeah, awesome.
So
man.
a lot of people in the unit knew me as a digger as well, so it was easier. But yeah, like. Yeah, that first patrol, I was just like, ah. Anyway, we get back to the patrol base, and I was a little bit sketchy, and the Seco running, it's like, oh, Sarge, you all right? I was like, oh, yeah, I just had a fucking rough time last time I was out.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened? I was like, I got shot a few times. He's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, explain it. Why didn't you say something? I was like, well, why?
It doesn't change anything for this patrol. Yeah, absolutely. And did you find that sort of quelled over time?
Yeah.
You sort of like the nostalgia of being shot there once. Did that sort of dissipated, mission focused?
It was pretty cool because like I moved around a few different patrol bases and that, being in areas where we'd fought on SATG 6.
Yep.
Looking at craters in the ground, going, "Oh, put that there."
Yeah, there's a little plaque next to it. It says
I did that. So
that's what 500-pounders do.
Yeah, so it was really cool. When my third son was born, we were in a firefight. Got back, ring her up. Is he born? Yep, cool. It didn't really cross my mind like, oh, as if he had died.
Yeah.
But and then went back over 2012 with MTF4.
Yep.
So that was good. Come back from that, and there's a missus picking me up from the airport. She's like, right, we got to talk. I was like, what's up? She's like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh.
Gets to that point.
Yeah. She goes, it's, like every time, like there's always people dying when you're over there. And I was like, yeah.
Yes.
Like, it's a selfish thing for her to think about, but
it's also
that's her concern. And like, if you go, like who's going to raise the kids and all that sort of stuff.
It's selfish of us as well as as the military member. Whether you're a guy or a girl, but you're going over to that. It's selfish in a way. It's selfless, but it's also selfish in a way because you have to be so focused on the mission that thinking about your family all the time is only going to be to your detriment if you're so focused on that for the entire time.
Yeah.
They're taking yourself out of there. So
it's funny, like Tam and I just hooked up before I did my last trip, and I was like, as soon as the balloon went up, I knew I was going on my third trip over there. I went, we're done. I don't want a girlfriend. I said, sorry, but I'm not being a prick about it, but I don't want to go over there with a girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's like, no, we can work it out. I'm like, no.
If my brain's not there. Fucking oath, man.
So I had to do the old Rex hunt, kiss the fish and put it back in the water, and I went off to Warzone again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you just call your wife a fish?
I think you did.
Like what Rex Hunt does. It's a beautiful, white, amazing fish.
With big tits. So hard to put that one back.
So when you got back, man, and that's the flag's gone up, right? Was that kind of the transition period, like moving into your transition out of defence?
So I was looking at getting promoted to WO, and I just spent like the 13 years as getting ready to go. I needed a break as well. Of
course, man.
And so I said, look, I haven't done any instructional postings yet. I'd like to, do sub 1 JLC, I think they call it now, either for corporal or sergeant. Yeah, no dramas. We'll send you to Townsville. 4 regiment.
Good soldier up there.
No.
Fucking perfect.
And we'll keep you a sergeant another year. I was like,
no.
So it's sort of, that was like, well, what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
And wife's like, you're really angry. I think you got the old PTSD. Go see someone. Went into work, saw a psych, and like, oh yeah, dude, no shit, you've got it.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's your fucking medical discharge. And then everyone at work just dropped me.
Wow.
Oh,
like,
bro, that fucking breaks my heart.
It was like, you're leaving us. You've turned your back on us. And
Fuck.
I was like, I just needed a fucking break, And then, as it happens, as I was just about to discharge, we break up.
Yep.
Fucking, so, you find out there's rock bottom.
Yeah.
And then there's layers to rock bottom, right?
Oh,
you know,
man.
So in the space of like a month, I lost my family being, my career.
Yep.
And then my actual family as well.
And then you've also been labelled with something that's, that you spend your whole time almost ignoring the signs, the symptoms, all that stuff. And then that's front and centre.
Yeah.
Fuck, I feel for you, man.
Yeah. It's like, well, hang on. I fucking worked hurt, not just with being shot and all that, but all the other injuries we suffer.
Of course, bro.
And it's like, I've done all this for you guys. Where's my return?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, discharge.
You don't fit this in this box anymore, regardless of all the other great things you've done. So you're not one of us anymore. It's
that exact point that you need endless love, care, affection, attention, in a positive sense to assist you in transitioning. And more often than not, the stories I've heard about transition, unfortunately, are the stories that you're telling. People are so mission focused, even when there's no fucking war going on.
Yeah.
That the digger, that the corporal, the lieutenant, the captain, whatever, ends up being the secondary thought process. And in that moment, it's a 15, 20 year career that you've given everything.
Yeah.
Oh, bro.
Well,
so what'd you do with yourself in the first couple of months then?
So I was like, right, if I pull my discharge, can I because I had nowhere to live, and just bought a house, so paying the fucking mortgage, I was just in a fuck spot.
Yep.
I was like, well, if I pull my discharge, maybe I can live in the sergeant's mess. And then I was like, no, I don't want to be one of those guys with a side sling for a belt, fucking chinos and a tucked in shirt with fucking ADF runners. No, that's not happening.
And your keys jiggling along as you're walking.
And the phone on the side of your
belt. Yeah. I was like, nah. So repatriated my relationship with my dad and, moved in with him. And it was hard being out, because we put so much of our occupation as our identity.
Absolutely.
And I hadn't really coined the term former military or veteran for myself yet. And go down the pub trying to mingle with people on a Friday arvo.
How many of you have been shot? None of you? I can't really relate.
Well, it's not a good icebreaker, So you go.
It's tough. My point is it's tough meeting people that don't have a shared experience.
Yeah, and so this pub I went to was a bit rough. Everyone's in tradie high vis, and it's like, oh, did you get the day off, mate? Because I'm in civvies.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, I'm retired. Oh, did you win the lotto? No, got shot a couple times. So it was like saying your identity, as your occupation, and we just put so much focus on that, and I didn't really fit in. So I hit up a couple of the guys I'd sort of made friends with, and I was like, oh, can I get a couple of shirts off you so I can wear down here on a Friday so people stop fucking asking me, what do you do for a crust?
Wow.
Which is the icebreaker that every guy uses, So sort of found myself a uniform again, wear on a Friday, and trying to figure out what my next move is I was planning on being military forever.
Yep.
And sort of everything just fell apart in the space of a couple of months, and I was like, well, what the fuck do I do now? And I know you guys talk about you need a plan. I had no plan, and
the guillotine came down quickly.
Yeah, and I always had this plan of when I reached about 40, I'd think about getting out and right, what do I want to do? Where do I want to live? We'll buy a house there. All the what you're supposed to do. And I was like, no, you don't even have a house to live in, but you're paying one off.
Yeah,
so you can't rent a place.
Perfect.
Live with your dad. And that's a great way to fucking meet chicks. Oh yeah, I live with my dad. You fucking loser. Right?
Oh, you're just ticking them all off.
Yeah, rock bottom again.
I'm angry. I live with my dad.
I've taken all these antidepressants, so I've just put on fucking 1,000 kilos. It's like, fuck.
That's so appealing. Join the military, ladies and gents.
You should go to recruiting.
I'm fighting an alcohol addiction now.
It's
not
fine.
putting up much of a fight.
You can change it. You can change the paperwork when you get to Kapuka. It's fine.
Yeah. Just refill it.
Don't tick the PTSD box. Just let it.
But here's the thing: your personality and your character
fucking
and your outlook on life is fucking spot on.
Yeah.
Tell us about the change. When did things start to get better for you?
Slowly at first. Started picking up a little bit of work with a guy, running a couple of different landscaping jobs. Platoon sergeant. Yeah, I can run your crews for you. It was great.
Yeah, cool.
Sort of gave me purpose again, getting up in the morning. You know, because like I spent my entire life being school straight to the military.
Yep.
Here's what you're wearing today.
Yeah.
You know, and then I was like, well, what do I wear today as a civvy? I was like, I need a uniform. Like I'd ask my dad, what are we doing today? He goes, what the fuck do you need to know for? I was like, well, do I wear this? Do I wear that? You know, and like just itemizing what clothes to put out just seemed fucking like made sense to me.
Yeah, of course.
And no one else could see it.
Yeah.
Well, military people get it.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, yeah,
It's PT. You get finish your PT,
right.
you get into your cams, you get out of your cams, you get into your...
Yeah, it's a logical sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, I started working with him, helping him out. And then met a girl on Tinder, as you do.
Yep, perfect.
Hooked up, started living together. And then 2018...
Did she move in with you and your dad, or did you guys get a house together?
We got a house together. Yeah. Dad came with us.
Sorry, mate.
So we, so then we broke up in 2018, and I was like, fuck, what do I do? You know, I didn't take it well. You know, so I took the breakup like a man, and had a kayak that went like fishing and that in, and I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna paddle this thing down the Murray River. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, so jumped in my kayak and fucked off for 2.5 months.
That's
brilliant.
Mate, you know, I'll tell you what, like you laugh about it, but doing something like that and changing your environment, changing your circumstance, it's so fucking powerful. Because what you could have done is sit on the lounge and smash bottles of JD from the time you got up to the time you went to bed. I'm not saying you didn't drink while you were paddling down the river, but what I'm saying is changing your circumstances and just taking control of that. You own that obligation to get out of bed every morning with a sleeping bag and fucking paddle. That's cool, man. I'm proud of you for that, dude. That's awesome.
So I met this dude at a pub, funnily enough, and he'd done the North and South Poles, like kayaking in the waters there. And he goes, oh, Murray's on my bucket list as well. Can I come with you? I was like, yeah, this is sort of a solo adventure, but sure, man, come along. So, you know, I was like, right, military precision for this one is out.
Yep.
I just want this to be as it happens, very lackadaisical, you know, like whatever happens, you know. And he was corporate, so he was, no, we must start here. Here's our itinerary. I need to be here at this date. I was like, oh, I'm not about that, dude.
Yeah, not for
you
this.
know. And so we sort of clashed to begin with before we stepped off. And
not a good sign.
No. So
combat indicator right there.
Combat indicator 1. So we sort of agreed we'd meet and do like a couple of Ks in this river just to get each other sort of thing. Right, we're going to start at 8 o'clock. I was like, yeah, happy day. So I got there, all set up, ready to go by 7:55. You know, I've got all my gear on my kayak. I'm fucking prepped. About 8:30, he rings me up. Oh, I'm running late. I'm like, no shit.
I can see that.
My oars are still dry.
Yeah. So about 9 o'clock, he rocks up, not with the kayak he's going to take down the river. And he goes, oh, I got 15 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you're fucking cut.
Yeah.
Right? So we get in the water. I'm like, right, I don't know how, like, I'm trying to work out how I'm going to tell this guy, you know, I'm not going with you, mate. Fuck off. Yeah. And then he reaches over with 2 Coronas. I was like, all right, you're back in the trip.
You won me over.
So we headed off from Albury and paddled all the way to the Southern Ocean.
That's fucking cool, man. That's so cool.
Yeah, and, like, so for me, it was, I just wanted to, like, find who I was again, like, not the army guy, not the guy that's been divorced and broken up with, you know, like, just who I am.
Yep.
So it was a great experience to, like, pretend to be different people to see what sort of like mind state worked the best each town we went into.
Yep.
And then, like, along the way, people were like, oh, what are you guys doing? We're like, paddle into the ocean. Like, oh, that seems like a long way. Like, yeah, it's 2,500 Ks.
It's a fair way.
Oh, why are you doing this? Are you raising money for, like, cancer or, you know, heart disease or something, like some notable charity? I was like, oh, I'm going through a breakup.
Yeah, I'm trying to find my soul.
Correct.
Yeah. And
that's a pretty worthy cause, mate.
Very.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying not to top myself, if I'm being honest. So
the military dark humor.
So
it's fucking funny because it's true.
Yeah, exactly, mate. It's exactly true.
And so now, like, I've got, like, purpose, motivation to get up in the morning, start paddling. Plus, with, like, my arm and that, I was like, right, can I actually do this?
Yeah, man.
So it was a thing, and I got to the end. It was like the greatest accomplishment like I could have done. And there was so many people along the way that said, you won't do this for X, Y, Z reason.
Yep.
You know, my army mates were like, you're a fucking sergeant. You should know you need da. I was like,
It'll be right. We'll work it out. We'll work it out.
Yeah.
Burke and Wills did it across some mountains and shit. I can do it down the river.
Exactly. So when I got to the end, I was just like posting on Facebook, ringing cunts up. Going, I did it. Oh, guess what, motherfucker? I'm at the end.
Thank you for your support.
Yeah.
So take us into like transitioning into, so that's you. I mean, it's never it's not like rowing a kayak down the river where you get to the end of PTSD and all that sort of stuff, and you're like, hey, I'm over it now. It's a journey, and we know that. Like all of us know that. But when you start transitioning out of that, you found a piece of who you are. Let's go into what you're doing now and how you got into that space.
Yeah, so coming back from the river and that, I had this new mindset, this is what I'm going to do, and along the way people were like, oh, I've got, like a brother or a sister or whatever that's in the fireys or ambo or whatever. They'd love to do something like this, just get away, find themselves again, have that adventure. And I was like, oh, well, there's a couple 100,000 of us out there. Why don't I start a thing taking people down the river? So 2019, spent my whole time investing in starting the business. Sold the house with the ex-wife finally, got a little bit of capital. And one of the other podcasts said, if you want to get paid like a professional, you need to be a professional first. So I was like, right, well, I got 50 grand.
Good advice.
Let's pump it into setting this up so it is a professional thing. So did all that. Started 2020. I'm ready to go, ready to launch.
COVID.
Rock bottom again. Fuck. So now I've got like 50 grand's worth of kayaks and trailers, camping gear, fucking everything just sitting, like the kayaks came out of Albury, the trailers came out of Rockhampton, fucking couldn't get to them. Everyone's in lockdown. I was like, come on, man. Like, just cut me some slack.
Give us a break. Give us a break. I'm trying here.
So, sort of rejigged the model. Eventually, got everything up there, and so now we're doing like sort of smaller adventures. Still, the flagship one is the whole length of the Murray.
Yep.
But we're working with RSL at Currumbin.
Cool.
Young Veteran Sports Services. So we take them out once a month, paddle Currumbin Creek, and just give everyone back that sense of adventure, accomplishment, community, and as veterans, sort of a little bit sketchy when it comes to committing to things, so there'll be like 10 people listed as coming, 7 will turn up.
Yeah.
All right. And they try to make excuses. I was like, oh, I get it. I just woke up that day and went, I can't be fucked.
I can't do it today.
Yeah. So we try to get like word of mouth out through people that have done it. And then it's like, we just paddled up and down the river and just chatted, talked shit, had coffee and fucking banana cake at the end.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't hard. It was more of a social activity rather than full strenuous.
Yep.
You will fucking paddle from here at this speed. If you're not, you're dead.
Yeah. No one's dropping bombs. There's no PKMs.
Yeah.
Just banana cake, boys.
Yeah. No, so it's it's really fun just getting people out there. And
do you get any funding sources? Are there support for funding for things like this? Are you tied in with any other organisations?
Tried getting in with Mates for Mates and Soldier On.
Yep.
They didn't really want to help.
Yep.
So RSL has chipped in three grand.
Good on them. Yeah, cool.
to help. So that was great. But yeah, so far it's all been funded through me.
Awesome.
So
Tell us about the name 2530.
So 2530
postcode or something.
2,530 kilometers.
Oof.
Fuck me.
Why didn't I know that? You now all know that. I was today years old when I found out that.
Yeah. So the Murray's the third longest navigable river in the world.
I love the name now.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's
So
so
I was trying to come up with a name, come kayaking with Kyle, but it was like 3 Ks, and I was like, well, we can't do that. I don't want to be associated with those jerks, right? So I was trying to come up with something like that people could just get, and you got your 5s and 25s.
Yeah.
If you count 5s, 5, 10, 25, 30.
Yeah.
Sort of, and then that's the distance of the river, so it just made sense.
Yeah, of course, man.
To call it that, cool. And it's like, well, what accomplishment when you get to the end, and what sort of sense of community can you build along the way, not just with the people that are paddling with you, but when you're stopping at towns and like talking to people that live on the river, like, oh, hey, what's this like? Or what was your experience like overseas? And, you could share.
Of course, man. It's a shared community, shared experience.
Yeah, and then what sort of adventures can you have, like in 2,500 Ks?
Yeah,
lots.
Lots.
We certainly didn't set any speed records.
It's not about that,
Not
man.
the point.
We were joking, like we were not the fastest, but guy we were the drunkest.
How long does it generally take?
9 weeks.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shit.
I mean, the record's about 6 days, but that's in like a full sleek kayak with
fuck,
a
fuck those guys.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah. So not that many people have done it, to be fair. So we did it unsupported, source to sea, and there's like 5 of us in the world that have done that.
Yeah, okay.
Shit, that's cool.
Yeah. It is
Crazy, but cool.
yeah.
But you know what? Whatever works, mate. It's got to who you are now.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you guys have picked up a little bit, but you've got a couple of little voiceovers going. And I can see also you've got the full bull comedy. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So
Finish off with a bang.
Yeah, cool. So when I talk to people about the 25-30 stuff, there was a couple of organizations that reached out and said, hey, can you come in and tell us a bit about the adversity you went through, being shot and all that sort of stuff. And one of the groups was like, oh, we're doing this thing. It's about 100 odd guys. You're all good with a microphone? And I was like, oh, not really.
We'll see.
So I Googled what's the cheapest public speaking course I can do.
I'm better with an M4 than a microphone.
Right. And it came out, there was a stand-up comedy course. And I was like, perfect. That's everything I need to learn. Starts in a couple of weeks, done.
Yep.
So banged in, went and did that. Very first thing is how to hold a microphone properly. I was like, oh, cool. This is exactly what I need. I can go now.
Tick.
And I had no aspiration of doing stand-up comedy. And the course goes for 2 days. And then in like 2 weeks after that, they have a graduation show where you invite all your friends and family from each of the 11 people that are on the course. Full-on proper show. And then you do it in front of your family and that. So everyone's very supportive. And it was this massive adrenaline rush. I was like, oh, this is cool. And trying to like hold your nerves and focus. And it's like you look at the crowd and they're a puzzle. You're trying to figure out how, like, what are you going to be into? What are you going to be into? Yeah. What jokes do I have that I can get you to like me, laugh at what I'm saying. So I really enjoy that puzzle piece.
Yep.
And it's just like being in battle. Like you stand up, you are in battle against the audience.
Yep.
Like you need to win them over very quickly. But you are alone. You don't have any support with you on stage. So if you forget something, you're fucked. And they can see it because you're like, what's happening? Like, what the fuck was I meant to be saying next? Yeah. And then you start fucking bombing. Yeah.
And you learn, right?
Yeah. So, but it's one of the other guys said, it's like living in that perfect moment of when you're on stage, you can't be thinking of the next joke coming. You need to be focused on what you're saying because if you slip up one word, the joke doesn't make sense.
Yep.
So I did my graduation show, did a couple other like open mics after that, which are absolutely horrendous because generally it's the only other comedians that you're performing to. And they pick through your jokes. Yeah, it's just fucking shit.
Pack of vultures.
Oh, dude. So I went up to Mackay and I picked up a car trailer for a mate and I was driving it back and I stopped in a small country town called Mount Morgan. Started talking to the public in there. And his brother was Army. So we sort of hit it off. And then I was like, oh, I do stand-up comedy. Can I do a show here? He goes, yeah, fuck yeah, that'd be great. And then got a group of mates and we all went up there and then now we start touring around Queensland and New South Wales.
Good on you, man. What a fucking amazing career that is. I mean, you and I, when we're doing the live, we were in here this time last night.
Yeah.
Not this time last night, yesterday. There's another example of fucking something up, right? But we see nothing. So there's 25, 30,
Yeah.
30, 40 people watching us in here fucking jawing off about stuff.
Yep.
And we just got a camera to look at. There's no feedback. The puzzle is blank.
Yeah.
But you're still there live and you're trying exactly what you're trying to do when you're in front of a camera is what we're trying to do when we do our live activities. Yeah. So it's being in front of the camera and being in front of a live audience totally different because there's a big puzzle or there's no puzzle.
Yeah.
There's a very different set of skills that need to go into it. So
how do you crack that?
I don't know, man. I'm still working it out.
Yeah.
Well, you tell us. Do we all do all right or not?
Well, I'm lucky I've got a couple of other people to bounce off. So that's as opposed to being here by yourself, looking down the camera and then trying to hold an audience. We literally just bounce off each other.
Yeah.
So and then just hope like fuck that people think it's entertaining and informal. Whatever it is. So I mean, we still get a few people rock up every month, so it can't be too bad. And it's just thinking that. I was just relating so much to what you were talking about, but in a different context.
Yeah.
But mate, it takes balls, man. It takes like to get up there and try and hold an audience and make them laugh and be vulnerable in front of them, but try and make it funny at the same time, which you are very incredibly good at. Yeah. I've had a fucking ball today. Yeah, this has been one of the most enjoyable podcasts I've done this week. Doesn't have a joke. See, in my own lunchbox, I can be a little bit funny. No one else thinks that's funny, but I do.
You rip on me 13 or 14 more times, man. I'm out that door.
All right, no worries. But no, mate, seriously, full ball comedy company. Dan, you put all the details down at the bottom of this podcast description, no doubt, mate.
25.
I just fucking love your journey. I love your story. I love your resilience. I love your outlook. I love what you're doing now, and I'm so fucking humbled and so grateful you're here, Faz. It's great to see you again, brother. It's really, really good.
Thanks, Robbie.
From me to you, all the best with everything you've got coming your way.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks, Luke.
You can be a victim in life or you can be someone who takes charge, man. And from what I can see, you're taking charge. That's fucking awesome.
Cheers. Thanks.
I'm somewhere in between. See you next time. Thanks very much, everyone.